I remember it was before I was bar mitzvah, and my father woke me up in the morning, and he said, we're going to go to the airport. Rabbi Herzog is coming to Chicago, and all the Rabbonim in Chicago are going to the airport to welcome him. I was a ben yochid by my father, so I was also one of the Rabbonim. So I went, and I remember how he looked when he came off the plane. Eze atzilut, I mean, what an aristocracy. He had the cane, the mater,
and the cylinder.
Yeah, and the cylinder hat, and in the other hand he had a Tanakh.
Always.
And then we came to the yeshiva, so we were all in the yeshiva. There were maybe 200 bachrim. That wasn't only Chicago, that was the whole American Midwest. It was Kansas City and Minneapolis and Cleveland and from all America.
Amazing. What a historic visit.
And he said, he gave a shir in halacha, in Yiddish.
In the synagogue or in
the Beit Medrash of the yeshiva.
Right.
And then when he finished the shir, he said in his perfect English, he wrote the PhD on the Tchelet. It's still published, and he guessed right. He guessed 80 years earlier.
Before landing in Eretz Yisrael, he knew it's Argamon Chad Chotzei.
Right, Murex Trunculus.
You're the only one who knows it. You're amazing.
So he said, I want to say a few words to the young men in the yeshiva. And he said, I just came from the Pope of Rome. That's how he called him. The Pope of Rome. And he said, I gave him a list of Jewish children that were put into Catholic institutions by their parents to save them from the Germans. And I said, I give you the list, and I want you to give me back the children. And he said, the Pope said to him, he would not do so, because he said anyone that came into a Catholic institution was immediately baptized. And once you're baptized in the Christian faith, we can't give that person back to be raised in a different faith. And after he said that, he stopped and he started to weep. I mean, I never saw somebody cry that way. He put his head down on the stender. It was the whole 2,000 years poured out. And I remember we were all nidam, we didn't, and then he strengthened himself. And he looked around the room, he said, I cannot do anything more for those children. But what are you going to do for the Jewish people? What are you going to do to build the Jewish people again? And then later, we all went by him to shake his hand, and he gave everybody a bracha. He says, and I was a child yet. I was 12 maybe. He said, did you hear what I said? Remember what I said. Don't forget what I said. And that made such a roshem, such an impression upon all of us. And from that group in the yeshiva, I mean, my chaverim, they made michlala l'banot here. They didn't. Also an Irishman, Cooperman.
Yeah.
Also an Irishman.
Cooperman is there's a family in Bethlehem.
Right, and there's one. He's Emmanuel and Bernstein and all of them. It was all, from one speech, it came out institutions. Came out, and they went. Many of them were over Eretz Yisrael. They were Ramim bin Netiv Meir in Yerushalayim.
Unbelievable.
And all from one speech. I want to say that, especially to American Jewry, the strengthening of Jewish ties is attached to the land of Israel. That is what has kept us throughout the thousands of years of exile. We always were going home. We always knew where we belonged. So even when we were in Siberia, we weren't in Siberia in our mind and in our heart. We're going to Eretz Yisrael, we're going to Yerushalayim. And in our time, it became a reality. And because of that reality, we should strengthen ourselves and tell it to our children and grandchildren, implanted within them. So whether we ourselves come now is immaterial. In our soul and in our heart, we're all here, and we're here to build the Jewish future. So I want to wish you that today is Chol HaMoed Pesach, Zman Cherutenu. We are free, we're independent. I want to wish you the best of everything, and we should always hear good news from each other. And it's my honor and pleasure to have the President of the State of Israel, Rabbi Herzog, here as a guest in my home.